Thanks very much, everybody. Those appearances are usually 1 or 2 minutes, but I've got your attention, I hope, for 20 minutes. Even though I'm used to giving lectures for about an hour, so I've been told wherever Dervla is that she's going to give me a 5-minute warning. Okay. Now, I'm going to take a look at some of these things that you'll have seen before, and maybe just to put it into context. The retail landscape here in Ireland is slightly different to other countries, but we're going to kind of look at this kind of a global and a local context. So, online retailing here is, according to the NISL research, is about 0.6%. So it's not happening anytime fast soon here. And the changes in retail are not going to happen that quickly when you see the format. But what's going to happen is we're going to talk about a bit about the change in the consumer and the path to purchase is what I'm going to talk about a little. So the convenience sector in Ireland counts for 36% of overall sales still. It's a very high level compared to other countries, and part of that is the retail planning restrictions that we have. So we don't have stores over 3.5 or 4,000 square meters here in Dublin, and we have a high convenience sector, and that means that we can shop anywhere. Basically, if you're on your way home from here, it's easy to do. It's relatively easy to shop compared to other countries. So, online grocery shopping, I'm saying, is fresh in the bag. Are we doing fresh? Everybody's talking about fresh and trying to gain a part of that market. You've probably all seen this one up here. It's fairly old. The video of the guy in Korea in the tube station, and basically, that's just a panel there of photographs, and he's taking a photograph there and ordering before he gets home. They say the Koreans are the second hardest working group in the world after Ireland. I thought maybe not, but anyway, this one here is Amazon Go, which we're all heard of. Amazon Go to me is a one-off. I don't know how much it cost them. It cost them, I don't know how much money it cost them to build the Amazon Go technology, but it's basically a technology. I don't think it's a solution for retailers, and it's certainly not a solution for small-sized, medium-sized retailers. And I don't see them rolling this out to Whole Foods at any time soon. In fact, I think the super value, the scan and go, is nearly just as quick. Right, if you're doing a supermarket shop, you're in and out so long as they operate that efficiently, and as soon as they put it onto a phone and be able to make mobile payments, you'd be in and out with checkout less stores. But I don't think they need Amazon Go. But the one thing is, that was top of the news on every station, CNN, NBC, BBC, everywhere in the world on that particular week. So they got a huge amount of publicity for it. And what I'm thinking with Amazon is buying the Whole Foods stores is, you go and you buy something from Amazon, and Amazon Fresh, and basically, where does it come from? Where do I return it? Where does this apple come from? I know now that if I buy it through Amazon, is that I'm buying Whole Foods product. I'm buying an organic product. I'm helping sustainability. So to me, that's where they're aiming to get that. Of course, as well, they don't have really much of a share of the grocery market. Grocery accounts for probably around 40% of the overall retail sales in the US. So it's a huge market that they haven't tapped into yet. So as I said, this is what I'm going to look at. A little bit about consumers. Consumer reaction, and then leading on to buying in the retailers and the manufacturers, and also looking with most of you here are from the manufacturing side, the CPG side. So I'm going to look at that path to purchase just a little, which you're all probably familiar with. But one of the areas I think that we don't do as well as we could do. So consumer trends. So we're eating out more. I know these are stats from the US, but 46% of people are eating alone. So the shopping journey changes, right? Also, 60% of families cook multiple meals. So for vegetarians, vegans, people who don't want to take sugar, dietary requirements and so on. So this is changing. This is changing rapidly. And that means that we're having to buy, and maybe, a lot of hypermarkets in the States, they're saying that the basket is less than 12 items in it. So we're doing smaller shops more often. In the UK, from Kantar, willingness to pay for more food. 5% of us are willing to pay more for healthy food, 22% more if it tastes better. And that to me is, it's in the fresh area. Considerably more for ready-made meal solutions. And that seems to be an area that people are looking for. Now, besides the Marks and Spencer's deal for 10 or 12 pounds, whatever it is now, including the bottle of wine, we're looking for proper meal solutions here that are a bit more healthy for the consumer. So M-commerce. Everybody's talking about M-commerce, mobile commerce. Everybody's talking about, everything is transferring to the smartphone. To me, M-commerce is for millennial commerce. So the millennials, they're born 79 to 96, age 22 to 39 now. So they're the ones that are spending money. They're going to account for, in 2020, 50% of the workforce in the world. So they're the ones who are spending money. And they're the ones we need to be targeting. But one thing about them is that patience is not an attribute. So they're not a patient bunch at all. So this is them, I want to have it, and I want to have it now. And I want to eat it now. I don't want to have to wait. So it's immediate gratification is what they're looking for. And they can do this because, I've got my phone and I can look up stuff, and I have a lot more information than we had previously. They're looking for access. So access to products, access to services. So we can see then in 25 years' time, they're saying, Jeremy Rifkin is saying that car sharing will be the norm and car ownership will be an anomaly. So we're looking for different services to fulfill the needs. I don't need to have a car anymore. It's not a high priority for these millennials at all. Right, okay. This is Generation Z, always online. This is the next one that you'll be encountering. So they'll be online, they'll be born, and they'll be click and collect by the time they're probably 10 years of age. Right. So retailer trends, so BOPUS, so BOPUS, buy online, pick up in store. So a lot of this is what we would term click and collect, and it hasn't reached a tipping point yet. So you can see here, 68% of people never buy online. Right? But this is going to change because there's a void there, and that gap needs to be filled, and solutions will be provided, the likes of Deliveroo, Just Eat and so on. These people will be delivering solutions for this problem that's there. So it's an opportunity rather than a problem. Sorry, I'm not used to this clicker here. This is Dundrum in 2030, right? Okay, we'll all be buying online. So I don't know if I want to go out and to Dundrum and chat to the management out there and tell them it's not what I think will happen, but I think the way shops will be designed and the way the interaction in shopping centres like this is going to have to change, and certainly within the next 10 to 15 years, maybe not so much in the next 5 to 7 years. So retail trends. This guy here is Pepper, right? And Pepper is an interactive machine learning robot, and he operates in Carrefour there at the moment when you can see this. So basically you can ask Pepper and say, listen, I'm so-and-so, swipe your card. He knows what you bought. He knows that you're looking maybe in this case for wine, and basically, what wine do you like? He knows what you bought previously. Did you like it? What dishes you want to have it with? So he's a machine learning robot, and he interacts very well with the consumers, and the consumers seem to like this type of interaction. But the purpose of the store is no longer to distribute products, but it's to distribute experiences. So it's all coming, we've heard this numerous times, experiential shopping. But I mean, it's how do we get around to doing that and looking at providing solutions to be able to do that. The trend, it's not about building more stores, it's about building stories. So why do you want to go? Do you want to interact with other people while you're shopping? Do you not? Do you want to use technology? Do you want to use click and collect? So it's about building a story when you're going to a store, not just in the grocery element, but certainly in the clothing, apparel, DIY. I was in a store in Portugal there recently with a couple of friends in a DIY store, and you know what? You never get service, or whenever you're looking for something and some information on a product, it's always very hard to find. But they had buttons there that said, if you press the button, somebody will arrive at this location within 2 minutes. And if they don't, you get the product for free. So myself and my 2 other friends went to 3 different stations, pushed the buttons at the same time, and you know what? Somebody arrived to each of those stations within 2 minutes. So it's kind of giving something about a customer service, about an experience within the store. So it's about building stories rather than building stores. So why are you building the store? What are you putting into the store? And how are consumers reacting with it? This is pickup in Amazon. So we can see here this huge vending machine here. Basically, you come in, tap your code into it. You've already bought online, and this is your collection point. And all the goods are stored within this kind of large vending machine. They've also got pickup online, and basically if you buy online and purchase or pick up in the store, it's 2 minutes wait in your car. So basically you arrive, type your number into a machine, and the guys come out and have your car packed with your goods within 2 minutes. And there's a 90% satisfaction rate with that at the moment, and it can only get better. Meal kits. So this is where we're looking, as we said, there's a huge growth in people looking for meal solutions. They don't want to think, they see cookery programs, they'd like to have something like that. They can't cook, but they like to watch cookery programs, they like to see good food. So meal kits are very important. So all the ingredients for success. A store in Holland, for example, has about 15 different stations. A reasonably large store, but they have 15 different menus, and everything that you need for that menu is on the one shelf. So you can pick all on the one shelf, right? And basically any wines and so on that may go with it are there as well. So you're shopping just one area, and it's giving you that full experience. And also it's giving you the recipes and the menus and so on. So they're enthusiastic about purchasing fresh meal kits. So how then do retailers and how do CPG manufacturers get together and say, you know what, this is my aisle, these are my facings, and I want to protect that facing. You know what, if you're selling less and less, you've got to think of different solutions. And one of them is, how do we integrate or get these meal solutions to the consumer? And you can see here, completely agree, 27, 25, 26. So you're talking about 20, 40, 70 odd % there who really want these kind of meal solutions. And as we saw, they're willing to pay more for these meal solutions. The Internet of Things, right? We've all heard this, and we're all going to be connected, and we're going to have by 2020 80 devices in the house that are going to be connected to the Internet, right? So this will happen. The products are going to come out with it. It's just not going to be as easy. They're going to be voice activated as well through your Alexa or whatever the system that you'll be using. But these are the dash buttons, which you've probably heard of in the States. I can't see that these are actually going to take off myself. But basically, if you want to buy Tide, Illy, Coca-Cola, so you just press the button and it orders for you. It orders what you usually order. And the date and the time for it to arrive will be accompany it. So do we want to use that? If I have 100 items that I usually buy, I'm going to need 100 of these dash buttons. I don't think it'll take off, but you know what? It'll give you very good data on what people are buying. The other thing as well about these is that, and I'll come to it in a moment, is that who's buying or what items have been bought. So these are only available at the moment in the States. Tide, 21.6% are buying that. So we can see Gatorade, 6.9. Bounty bars are very popular, 16%. So these are the type of items people are buying using those. And the spend, I think this is the interesting part, right? So for CPG companies, Bounty, $27 is the average sale, right? Tide, the washing powder, $20 is the average sale. So that's probably 3.5 times they were suggesting of the average purchase, right? But what does that do? That brings, okay, bulk purchases, so you don't sell as much in the store, but you know what you get? You get loyalty because they're using that all the time. And to me, this is the best one. And the brand share of online category. So the brand share is 87% here for Tide. This to me is my favorite one. And I'm going to say a drop of water for the Evian. Sorry, but you've probably seen this one. This one works in Paris. The one thing when I go shopping with my wife, she likes to buy bottled water. And basically we go down to the bottled water aisle and we buy whatever one's on sale for €1, whether it's Tipperary, Ballygown, Evian or whatever it is. So we discriminate between the brands and we just discriminate based on price. And do you know what? I have to take 4 or 5 of these bottles off one of the top shelves, put them into the trolley, go up, take them out of the trolley, put them on the conveyor belt, get them through, put them back in the trolley, take them out to the car, put them into the car, and all the time they're rolling around. And then I got to lug them into the house, put them into a storage area, and then put them into the fridge. So this takes a bit of time. I hate doing it, to tell you the truth. And basically with this, the Internet of Things, fridge magnet, you just type into the Evian teardrop here, the quantity that you want, the time you want it delivered, and basically it's a 2-hour slot there, and then it's ordered. And then you just wait for it to deliver. And the great thing about that is, you know what, I have to bypass, it's a solution for me. I don't want to have to buy that water. and carry it around everywhere. And this, to me, is the solution. I don't mind if I pay 10, 20% extra for this. And the one thing, it keeps me loyal to Evian, right? Because of that. So I think that's kind of some way that, you know, CPG companies might build or look to build loyalty with consumers, because, you know, they're very fickle, and the capricious consumer and the repertoire shopping that we all talk about and going different places, you know, that kind of stops something like that. And it is a solution for certain products. Drone delivery, right? Will this happen? I don't think so. But you know what? They're trialing. There's little robots running around the streets of London with groceries in them. I don't know whether that will ever work either. I don't know if drone delivery, certainly not in the next 10 to 15 years. I can't see that working too well. I could be wrong, but my opinion is that it won't be top of the agenda. But it does give people and products and consumers, you know, and retailers, it gives you publicity, you know, generates huge publicity. So in the manufacturer trends, the consumer titans are under pressure. The big CPG companies, we see the bad results coming from P&G, see the merger of Kraft and Heinz, you see Unilever looking to be, well, trying to maybe break down Unilever, and Kraft and Heinz looking to buy them. So they're under pressure, and you can see here the organic growth is around 2.5% over the last couple of years. And if you take inflation into account, really there's no organic growth with the big CPG companies. Consumers are moving away from big brands. And why are they moving away from big brands? Because of the trends that are there, and because the smaller brands are somewhat more nimble, and what we look at in a moment is basically why the big brands aren't reacting to what's actually happening. So we can see here, just the important thing about here is this last one here. So big brands here, we can see the growth of small brands and the decline in the large brands. So P&G, decade of long history and underperformance, the magnitude of the challenge, right? Since its peak, it's badly underperformed the S&P. The biggest player has been falling behind the major competitors in the industry. So why is that? And maybe it's because we're too blind to see what's happening, and it's a big company to turn around. Danone's CEO, food industry is going nowhere, because companies see only a transactional relationship with the consumers. Somebody buys my product, I replace it. That's the transactional relationship. But it's not based on the values of why did they buy it, where do they use it, how do they use it, the consumption patterns. P&G recently, last week in the Financial Times, taking control back for the ads, which had a huge impact actually on the advertising companies' share prices. Too many people between us and the consumer. Taking too long to get things done, annoying people with frequent ads and not hitting them where they want to. We don't want to watch TV ads anymore. We watch box sets. We don't want to watch the ads. We turn over during the ads. You know, all of these things. So these CPG companies aren't getting the value for their buck. And they want to watch it. What they need is the social media side of this. So they all chased the holy grail of digital. We relinquished too much control. It's time to take back control of our own destiny. So at least we can see now the turnaround is happening, is that they see what's actually happening within the industry and that they're losing market share, and they're beginning to realize where the problems lie and address them. Here we go. This is something, I won't say I do every morning, but applying Caudalie skincare after my morning shower, as you can see from my nice complexion, right? I had chia seed porridge for breakfast. A new company just started up selling chia seeds here in Ireland within the porridge. They're actually doing a chia drink, fresh chia drink, where you open the top and the seeds pop down into the liquid that's there, the water that's there. So you get fresh chia seeds, and they're not already fermented within the liquid, which is interesting. Visit the Green Bench is where I go. It's an alternative place for lunch. I don't go down to the usual Insomnias for my €5 deal or €6.50 deal. So I go somewhere else, you know, very good sandwiches. Then I go and have a Kinnegar beer from Donegal for a craft beer in the evening. So I'm changing what I'm doing on my usual, right? Things that you would have done normally. So the small brands are then stealing from the big brands. So this is the kind of David and Goliath situation. How big companies, how can they fight back against the small companies? So to me, where the problem is the economics of supply has changed, right? Small companies can now leverage production It's easy to produce. I don't need huge manufacturing facilities. The big companies are trying to reduce the manufacturing facilities that they have. The small companies can now get into retailers because retailers want that diversity. They want to have something rather than just the big brands. So it's the economics of supply that's changed, and the big companies haven't reacted to that. What they use is traditional consumer research. It's too blunt an instrument, so basically they silo people. So you're 25 to 45 male and you buy this, that or the other. So this is my product to fit that segmentation. But it's not. The segmentation should be demand-led. So we should understand and get more data about the consumer and understand the consumer. Right? So it should be demand-led or demand-centric, the research, rather than consumer-centric, is who's buying what and trying to silo people. Now, the changing landscape, the future for the retailers, plan for the future, but you got to attend to today. So as I said, things are changing, and we've got to react to what's happening. But it's not about putting in new technology into stores. What it is you got to get the technology that suits the consumers. RFID is supposed to be a great solution to help retailers cut costs and so on. Hasn't happened. Lots of other things, digital stuff is available. Hasn't happened. But stuff will happen, and stuff will have to happen because the consumer is changing and the retailers and the CPG manufacturers have to change with them. So we need to attend today, but we need to look at the changing landscape. Fragmentation of the shopper spend, so repertoire shopping. So you go to your local butcher for meat, you go to the Aldi or Lidl for your toiletries, detergents, you go to Super Value for your meat or whatever, for your other types of groceries and so on. So the fragmentation means, it complicates matter. But the one thing about all of these here is that it's all done on the phone. And we have that zero moment of truth where we look things up on the phone first, where we decide where we're going to go. We decide where the offers are and where we might go. So how then do we interact and personalize this with the customer, especially for CPG companies who tend to talk about selling large amounts to retailers, but don't engage with the customer as much as they should. The need to prioritize departments where shopper value spending their time in stores. Older people tend to like lots of options in the fresh category, but they also like the old traditional CPG products that they tend to buy. Also, younger generations prefer more options in the home products and health and beauty. Right? So how do we then manage that category management within that? E-commerce is increasing. Right? But more so with specific departments and shoppers. So certain items people want to buy online, and we still want that experiential learning. And the store of the future, as we said, is going to have all the nice stuff around the edges, and then in the middle, as they're beginning to call it, the morgue, the places where people don't want to go. We'll probably cut down on the number of SKUs that we have. So category management will dramatically change, in my opinion, over the next, I'm sure Mark could tell me more about that, but category management will significantly change over the next 5 to 10 years to deal with the change in consumer tastes. So this is my last slide. Just in conclusion, what can companies do? So align the core strengths of the company with marketplace changes. Right? So what we're good at, do what we're good at, attack, it's not about the consumer saying, oh, I want smaller brands. You know what, Red Bull, big brand, it satisfied a need that was the people who wanted caffeine before him, but you took in tea and coffee and other drinks. And then Red Bull saw, here's another way of satisfying that same need. Needs and desires really haven't changed. It's consumer preferences and where they go for these needs and desires that have changed. And we need to react to that. We need to react to the changing market basket that is much smaller. So then how then do we get a part of that share of wallet or share of life as they talk about? So smaller growth, we create competitive advantage, effective loyalty programs. Now this is one where we don't look enough with CPG companies especially at the loyalty programs. Loyalty is a one-on-one relationship. Right? It's not about the number of facings that I have, it's about me interacting with the consumer and knowing my consumer and not just say 50 to 25-year-olds buy this product. I need to be able to look at different silos from a demand-based point of view. One company that I came across is a company, Promotional Payment Systems here in Ireland. And basically I had this conversation with the managing director there recently, and you know what, I said, get rid of all these promotions that are going on in stores. 71% of them are ineffective. Nobody measures them. How do you know if it's effective or ineffective? We don't. But basically what I was suggesting to him is do away with all of them. But people want promotions. You know what? Give it to them on their phones. Give it to them on an app. So when they go down to the store, they already know what's on sale, what's on offer, what they're getting, because I buy Kellogg's cornflakes every day or every week, so then I get an offer for Kellogg's cornflakes. And everything's the same price. Manage demand better, forecast better. And they're looking to provide a solution like that rather than just the usual couponing that we do for the mass markets. So use consumer data science seamlessly. So we're using more and more data, and it's about analyzing that data, and there are companies that do that extremely well, right? And analyzing the data, but it's about asking the right question. People analyze data and they come up with solutions, you know what, to problems that probably don't exist. So I always kind of think framing the question is very important when you're looking to use your data. And make promotions work harder for you, right? Companies, as I said there, tend not to do the promotions very well. As I said, 71% of them are ineffective. So to me, that you need to deal with that section of your data analysis much better than we do at the moment. And thank you for your time.